are officially in. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. It's morning here at my end. I'm in Canada, a city called Kitchener, close to Toronto. Of course, everyone in the world knows Toronto. So we are close to Toronto. That we have many people coming from different places. So, and I'm admitting everyone. Many of you I have met before in other classes. The majority of you I have the pleasure to meet for the first time. And some of you I know in personal life. So I'm trying to admit everyone because I believe I need to do it manually. So next time I will see if they can join automatically. Okay, I think, okay. So I know that I'm taking over this class. I was briefed quickly about the status of the class. I also received some feedback that you need a refresher and to talk about the difference, the different concepts that we that you covered. So we have a lot to cover. My plan, my very ambitious plan is to cover the first 3 chapters today. So let's plunge in. We are talking about the supply chain and supply chain management. So what's the difference between the supply chain as a field now and the traditional supply chain management? And supply chain management is one of the oldest industries in the world, and the goal of the modern supply chain is to get products to customers as quickly as possible, as cheaply as possible, as efficiently as possible. Here's a trick: while balancing concerns for the environment, for the worker welfare, and not jeopardizing the company's position. So it's a very complex and constantly shifting industry. But when it works, it really works, and we have names to. Okay, we have still people joining us. And we have big names who really managed to make it big and make big profits from this industry. So the supply chain itself is like a big relay race for products. It starts with raw materials being taken from natural resources. Then the materials get transformed into parts. The parts turned into products, and finally we get the product. We deliver the product to stores or directly to the customer to their footsteps. We have people, okay, joining. Good. Okay. So now when we talk about supply chain, we think global, meaning that it doesn't happen in one country or one region. That was the old way. For example, our phones, there are parts that might come from several countries. We still have people joining. So I appreciate if we join a few minutes earlier, so we will not have this hassle going back and forth admitting people, okay? And also the other thing that differentiates the modern supply chain, it's is that it's becoming digital. You know, we have software and we have IT components, and these components play a huge role in coordinating everything within the supply chain, making sure that products get from point A to point B, and this involves the use of sophisticated algorithms, artificial intelligence, and other technical tools that we will talk about later. And if you think that AI is a new concept, no. We know about AI since, I personally know about AI since 1996, 97. And there are so many tools are AI. But when it started to be democratized and reach people in their homes, everyone started to talk about AI. So supply chain nowadays, we said it's global and it's digital, and also it's speedy, unprecedented speed. And products and services move quickly within the chain, and information, of course. When we talk about the movement, we talk about the movement of products and information. And information moves quickly, or maybe quicker. And customers are demanding to to have more and more safety supply chains. And also it is interconnected. So it's literally a chain, and if one piece of the chain get disrupted, it can impact the entire process, the entire chain. Think, for example, when COVID-19 happened, the pandemic, factories shut down, companies closed. So we faced a new type of problems and some shortages, and it affected almost everyone. So as I said, I will just touch base quickly on the different concepts or different aspects. So I'm not going to talk too long for this, but I want to spend some time here. What is supply chain management? I'm very interested to know where you are from, not as a country, but as an industry. So what's your industry? What's your company? So if you cannot speak, please write in the chat, and I believe this will be a better strategy. Write in the chat box the industry you are from. For example, banking, manufacturing, IT, because I want to show you how in so many industries, what we study here will benefit you. So what is supply chain? So this is like being, the coach of a race. I mentioned before. It's all about making sure that every step in the process, from getting the raw material to delivering the finished product to the customer, works smoothly. And the management process itself is like the coach job to make sure that each runner, or in our case, each step in the process is done, and every step we know exactly what to do and when to do it. And okay. I see familiar faces. And we have what we call the value proposition. So each supply chain have a value proposition. It's the promise or the benefit that the supply chain will offer the customers. it's like saying, if you choose our team, you will get your products faster, cheaper, and we are more reliable than other people. So it's all about providing a superior service that gives you an edge over your competitors. Even if you don't work in supply chain management, you still have a supply chain connected to your business, and you still have to provide a value proposition. So for example, let's talk about some examples. In manufacturing, let's talk about car manufacturing or car production. Supply chain management would involve coordinating everything from getting the steel to make the car frames, to assembling the car, to getting those cars to the dealership. In distribution, let's say in beer industry, supply chain could mean making sure the grains are harvested and delivered to the brewery, brewing the beer, bottling it, getting those bottles and to bars and liquor stores. For example, in humanitarian, so think of the many disasters that we have witnessed lately. So in a disaster relief scenario, it could involve coordinating the collection of supplies, the transportation of these supplies to the affected area, and the distribution to the people in need. One of the industries that rely heavily on supply chain is military. So for the armed forces, it could involve making sure soldiers have the weapons, the food, the equipment they need, and those supplies are transported to where they are needed, and the most important is when they are needed. And of course, we have now, a revolution in supply chain management with the e-commerce. Think of online shopping, and nowadays millennials, and I believe many of you are millennials, rely heavily on online shopping, and it made people expect faster, cheaper, sometimes free delivery. I don't buy anything unless I get free delivery, which adds more pressure to the supply chains to be more effective, more efficient. And there are some challenges. For example, the climate change. Increasingly severe weather can disrupt transportation and transportation routes, and make obtaining raw material harder to get. We have, okay, admit all. Okay. And of course, when the pandemic happened, it showed the importance of supply chain and supply chain management, and how the disruption that might happen to a component of the supply chain might affect components of shutdowns, and how this affected the availability of certain products and services. Please make sure that you come on time. Okay, so this is the supply chain. How about supply chain management? So the supply chain is the process itself, or the component itself. It will include physical components and information components. So what about the supply chain management? So again, using some metaphors, think of the process of the management itself like organizing a team, a football team or soccer team, where the players, let's talk supply chain language, the players are the major business processes. And these business processes need to work together both within the team, so within a specific company, or with other teams, so between companies, of course, to win the game. And what's winning here is to drive a competitive advantage. So we need to coordinate all these components, all these processes, all these companies to have a very smooth operations. And of course, we have other definitions, and I believe that you have read the material, I hope. Okay, so we have another term that that's included, and sometimes we use both as they mean the same thing, which is not. So supply chain management is a comprehensive term, and it includes all the activities needed to deliver a product from the supplier to the customer. The point A is the supplier, point B is the customer. This includes so many processes like sourcing materials, manufacturing products, transporting the goods. Logistics is part of this. So logistics is part of supply chain management. It's specifically concerned with the planning, implementing, controlling of the effective flow and storage of goods and services. And of course, the information related to these products or services from the point of origin to the point of consumption. And we will talk about the difference between customer and consumer later. So when we talk logistics, we might talk transportation, warehousing, inventory management, and it will include several activities or processes. For example, sourcing. So in this process, we identify, we evaluate, we contract with the suppliers. This includes identifying potential suppliers, evaluating the suppliers, and making sure that they are able to meet our needs, negotiating contracts with them, and managing the relationships with our suppliers. Then we have procurement, and some of you might work in procurement departments in your companies. And procurement include all the activities involved in obtaining the goods and the services, including creating purchase orders, receiving the products or the services, making sure that we receive the right ones. So we inspect the deliveries and we process invoices and payments. Also, manufacturing is part of these activities. So manufacturing is the process of converting raw materials to finished goods. And this, again, include other processes and other activities like product design, production planning, and the actual production itself. We have, for example, transportation. So this is, when we say transportation, it's the physical movement of goods from location to location. This includes, of course, several modes like trucks, trains, ships, planes, sorry. And also it includes the logistic activities like loading, unloading. We have warehousing. This is related to the storage of goods and in a physical location, physical building that's equipped with the needed equipment and tools to make sure that these goods doesn't go bad. And again, it includes several processes like receiving the goods, storing them, managing the space for example. So by managing these activities effectively, the company can ensure that it's delivering high quality products to the customers in the most efficient and cost effective way possible. And of course, your book is full of graphs and models to show you, to have this visual element. So we talk about the integrated supply chain. So what is integrated supply chain? It's a unified system where all the parts that we talked about, these parts of the chain are interconnected and communicating with each other to create this smooth and efficient flow of products and information. So this includes suppliers, manufacturers, distribution centers, retail stores, or directly to the customers. And also we need to manage something very, very important, the returns. So we have, sometimes people are specialized in managing returns. And for those companies who overlook this part of the supply chain, they can lose lots of money. So this process, it's related to handling returns effectively and efficiently. And this is very crucial to customer satisfaction. Right now, I have a friend, she will never buy something unless she is 100% sure that she can return it. Think of Amazon, for example. We return items all the time, and Amazon doesn't ask for justification or what's going on, and they pick the returns and they sell it. So they have their ways to do to get some profit from the returns. And the returns management, it includes the logistics of getting the goods back from the customer to the company, inspecting them, deciding whether to repair, replace, or dispose them altogether. So each component of the supply chain, as we can see in the figure, is interconnected. And there is information that flows both ways, in all the directions between each stage, enabling better coordination and efficiency. Of course, efficiency is a key word here. For example, we need to have access to real-time sales data. So this data can inform production schedules, helping to prevent overproduction, or what we call stock outs. We don't want to have excessive amount of stock. Also, production data could be used to optimize logistics and distribution. So data and information is very, very crucial. And here I want to talk about the difference between customer and consumer. So I want to ask you this question. Share in the chat. What do you think the difference between customer and consumer? Can we use these words to mean the same thing? What do you think? Okay, we have every consumer is a customer, but not every customer is a consumer. Okay, we need some elaboration here, Mohammed. Consumer is the one who is using the product, while the customer is the one who buys it. I see some people did their due diligence.
Can I speak out loud? I mean, it's very difficult to write. So I think consumer, it's those who are buying some products, and Oh, no, customer is those who are buying or ordering, and consumer who is using it. For example, if we are talking about parents, they are customers, but consumers might be their children. Or Walmart, he is a customer, or this company is a customer, but consumers, their clients. So it might be a little bit difference between these two words.
I have a very interesting example here. Think of the diapers, baby diapers. We have three entities here. We have the mother who will choose the brand or the type or the size. We have the father who will pay for this, and we have the baby who will benefit from wearing the diapers. Yes, Muhammad Yusuf, you raised your
Yes.
hands.
Hi, Dr. Hanan. Finally, I'm able to speak. For some reason, I was like muted for the entire session.
Okay.
So my understanding of like consumer and the customer. So the customer is the one who is like ever paying for the service, and the consumer is the one who's actually using it.
Yes, yes. And sometimes we have some intermediary entities. So I see that most of you understand. So from now on, please don't use consumer and customers interchangeably. Even in casual conversations, we study and we take these degrees so we can talk sophisticatedly. These two terms we cannot use interchangeably because they have different meanings in the context of supply chain and business. And they refer to two different roles that individuals or entities, sometimes these are not just individuals, people, it might be entities. And every one of these entities play in the process of bringing a product from its initial production to its final use. So customer is the individual or a business who pays for the good or the service. So in the example that I gave, it's the father. And it could be business to business transaction, B2B. So the customer might be, for example, a manufacturer or a wholesaler or a retailer who buys products to use in the production of their own goods or to resell to their customers. The consumer is the end user of this product or this service. We have people still joining. So in the example that I gave, it's the baby. The baby is actually the consumer because they benefit directly from this product. And yes, some of you said a consumer could be the customer, so the one who pays is the same one who will use that product. So customers and consumers are part of the supply chain. Customers might add additional value to the product or the service before it reaches the consumer, especially in the B2B context. The consumers are the final users. No one comes after the consumer. Okay, good. I don't know why this is not showing everything. So that's why we have integrative management value proposition. So what are these big expressions? So this term refers to a model that combines the various business strategies to create, to deliver, to capture value in an integrated manner throughout the supply chain. So it considered different aspects of business operations. That's why I worked in business operations. I was director of the business operations, and actually supply chain management was part of what I was doing. Okay. People are coming late. We might set a policy. If you come late, you will not be admitted. I have to toughen up. So the integrative management value proposition, it's it considers different aspects of the business operations to enhance the overall value we provide to our customers. Because at the end of the day, what's the purpose of any business? It's to provide value. And once the customer cannot see this value, you are out of business. But we want to maximize the efficiency, and we want to maximize cost effectiveness. Because yes, I might provide value, but I'm hurting my business. So we need to provide economic value. Okay, some people are joining late. Recycling, yes. Okay, I went through this quickly. Let me see in which yeah, I think we were talking about it when we were talking about what is supply chain management. So some of the examples. So for example, if you are a recycling company, or part of your processes is to recycle, for example, the unused packaging material or something like this. So the recycling in terms of supply chain management, it might include different processes, like collecting the waste, sorting. Sorting is huge, and actually, some companies we ask, here in not companies, countries here in Canada, we ask people to sort their garbage, but they don't do this. But for example, in Europe, people are very, very aware of this sorting process. So the waste comes to the recycling facilities already sorted. Here in Canada, for example, we have a problem in sorting, because waste doesn't come sorted. Although we have all the policies and all the mechanisms that encourage people to sort their waste, they don't do it. They don't do it. So in terms of recycling, you need to sort, or to collect the waste, to sort the waste, to process each type or each category according to the right processing operations, and getting those materials back to the manufacturing or the manufacturers, so it can go in a circular, we call it the circular economy. And you know who are the best people doing this? Have you heard about circular economy? The best country when it comes to, let me see, okay, China. China many years ago decided to transform their economy into a circular economy, meaning that they will recycle everything. So let's go back to the integrative management value proposition. So we talked about the economic value. So this primarily focuses on the financial aspect of your value proposition, or the supply chain value proposition. So the aim here is to provide the best value at the lowest possible costs. And what are the strategies that we use to do this? One of the strategies could be lowest total cost. So we will try to offer the product or the service at the lowest cost, total cost to the consumer. Of course, without compromising the quality. And we do some cost-cutting measures. We optimize the operation. And of course, we apply supply chain management. Another strategy is economy of scale. So this is a cost advantages that we obtain by increasing the level of output. We scaling up the output. So as the production increases, the cost per unit. See here, the cost per unit decreases. Why? Because we are, we have fixed cost and we have variable cost. So the fixed costs are fixed no matter how many products you are producing. But the variable costs, these are directly related to the number of the product that you are producing. So when I increase the production rate, the fixed costs are distributed among more units. And also, this gives me what we call bargaining power with my suppliers. So imagine that you are bargaining a deal of 1,000 items versus bargaining a deal of 10,000 items. And of course, this will include that we use our resources efficiently. The third strategy is product creation or service creation. So this involves creating valuable, innovative product that fit a market needs or niche. And this will meet the customer expectations and needs so they can, pay for this innovative product. They will not bargain so much if they have this niche product. So the economic value would typically be achieved through, procurement or the manufacturing strategy. This might include choosing the suppliers, determining the quantity, the right quantity that we need to produce, the rate of production, the timing of deliveries, deciding when to do it ourselves and when to outsource it. There are certain elements in the cycle that we can outsource and we can get some economic value out of it. The second one is market value, and there are certain other strategies that we can work focusing on the market value. So here we are talking about the attractiveness of the product in the marketplace, the presentation of this product or the service in the marketplace. So there is other strategies, like for example, attractive assortment. So the company makes sure that we provide a wide range of products or services that are attractive to different segments of the customer base. And when we talk customer segments or different segments, we have our primary segment and our secondary segment. Okay, let me think of an example. Okay, it's a very feminine example. There is a brand of jeans called Not Your Daughter's Jeans. Okay, and the creator, see here, now we are talking about the market value. The creator of this brand thought that, okay, mothers want to be trendy, want to be elegant, but they don't want to dress like their daughters. That's why she named it Not Your Daughter's Jeans. And she discovered that some of the ladies who buy this type of jeans are not mothers, they don't have daughters. So the primary customer segment was the mothers, but the secondary segment was women over 40. By time, the secondary segment actually was turned into the primary segment. That's why they changed the name into the first letters, and it became abbreviation. So it became N, not your NY, D, G, J. So instead of saying Not Your Daughter's Jeans, we want to eliminate this because now we are catering to a wider secondary segment that became primary. So in this strategy, we try to have different products or different services that are attractive to different segments in the customer or the market. The second strategy is economy of scope effectiveness. So this refers to efficiencies gained by producing a variety of products together, rather than producing each one of them separately. For example, a dairy company. So the dairy company will produce milk, cheese, and yogurt. And by doing this, they take advantage of shared resources. We use the same raw material, milk supply, for example. We have the same processing facilities, and we have the same distribution channels. The third strategy is product or service presentation. So how we present the product or the service to the customer. Think of packaging, branding, the marketing strategies. For example, McDonald's. Kids who cannot read and they don't know any letter can recognize the big M of McDonald's, for example. So this is part of the attractiveness or the presentation of the product or service. The packaging, you will see that cereal boxes, they have these cute rabbits, cats, bears. So these animals, these fur animals, why? To attract the children. And you will see that they are placed in the superstore or in the store at a level, not the mother's level or not the adult level, it's the kids level, because the kids who will see this at their eye level and they will tell their mother, I want this product. So we can create value either by economic value or market value, and we use different strategies. So in the coming 15 minutes, we have almost 15 minutes, I want to give you a case study. So the case study is Apple, you know. How many we are? We are 20. Okay, so I will divide you into groups, and within your group, I want you to discuss Apple, okay? And discuss how Apple creates economic value and how they create market value, okay? So I will keep the slide, the other slide that has the strategies, and I will divide you into groups. Let me remember, yeah, the breakout rooms. So before I let you go to your breakout rooms, any question? Am I going fast? Am I going slow? What do you think? Because it's technically our first class. Okay, perfect. So I will divide you into 4 rooms. 4 rooms, and I will give you 10 minutes. And I want you to discuss how Apple provide this integrative or integrative management value proposition. Okay, welcome back. How was your discussion?
We had some problems because we didn't have this slide and we just discussed like
General?
general, yes, what we remember.
It's okay. Yeah, next time I will tell you take a photo or take a snapshot of the slide.
Okay, thank you. It will be helpful.
I think there is a way that I can cast this to the groups. I'm not sure. So we will see. But anyway, next time I will ask you to take a snapshot. So quickly, a group, one of the groups who wants to share their discussion insights with us before we
Can
go.
I do it? I
Yes.
just started to discuss about this. So I think about economic value. It's I'm not sure about lowest total cost, but as for economy of scale, efficiency, they are producing too much products and they deliver these products all over the world. So it's an economy of scale, and they're producing very good quality products. And also they are, in comparison with Android, for example, they are protecting authors' rights. So you cannot just download music and listen it. You have to pay for everything. And it's a kind of protection of all authors. And about market value, it's of course economy of scope. They're producing also MacBooks, AirPods, earphones, and so many products using the same equipment and their logo. Of course, very well-known logo like Apple, and it's at market value. So.
Well, the economic value when it comes to the lowest total cost, yes, they do this. That's why, for example, they decided to manufacture in China. So why so many manufacturers went to China? And actually, I have a very good example. Apple and Samsung started with BlackBerry. And actually, BlackBerry's share of the market was bigger because most of the companies, they preferred the BlackBerry because of the security advantage of BlackBerry. However, I live in a city. We had huge buildings owned by Research in Motion. This is the company that produced Blackberries. And at the time that everyone was outsourcing the manufacturing to China, BlackBerry insisted to have their manufacturing done in Canada. So they lost this economic value because other brands, they were able to provide better products at cheaper, not cheaper, because they paid, we as customers, we paid the same amount, but at a cheaper cost, or a lowest total cost on the company. So the excess of the money they gained, they dedicated it to the marketing of their products, to the positioning of their products. And suddenly, BlackBerry lost its niche and lost its market share. Yes, we have a question. King Pharaoh, your name is Muhammad, right?
Yes, yes, it was not a question. It was answering for the question how it's economy for Apple, because
Okay.
it's making all chips and all parts in China and only assembling in the USA. First, second, the unique selling proposition for Apple is its uniqueness in the privacy.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot hack an Apple phone unless you make a jailbreak. Unlike Android,
Mm-hmm.
Android might has a lot of virus. That's the
Yes.
unique selling. It's highly crafted, so it's very expensive and very cheap in manufacturing. The parts
Yes.
are very cheap, and it's very expensive and luxurious.
Yes. Yes.
That's,
Yes. So, and this is related to another strategy, which is product or service creation. So it's related to the innovation part of the product, and Apple invests heavily in research and development. And when they create market-leading technologies, they make sure that it's very sophisticated, that their competitors cannot catch on so quickly. Yeah. So before we go to a break, any question? Let me see. Competitive cost, yes. Lowest landed cost, yes. Not only selling a product, they are selling an ecosystem. Yeah, ecosystem. I like this. Businesses started to use this. So think of a system of products that are connected, and once you are Apple user, you know you will transform. You will transform. Yes, Muhammad, King Pharaoh, you still have a question or
No. It's all one. It's all one.
Okay. So let's have a break for 10 minutes, and we will be back 11:12. Okay. So it's 12 after the hour, and I will even have my timer. So we will be back in 10 minutes. Welcome back. So you can see that 10 minutes, in so quickly. 10 minutes break in so quickly. But it's okay.
Yes.
We have a lot to cover, and that's why I'm taking the time a little bit. But okay, I'm not sure why the presentation is not showing. But here it's the concept of supply chain value adds, and I believe this. You read this in the chapter. I hope that you are reading the material. I know that the book is heavy, but it's very well written. So supply chain value adds, it refers to the enhancements or the improvements that we do to the supply chain, so we can improve the value of our products or services or operations. And these at the end of the day are activities. So we call it value adding activities, whether to reduce the cost, improve efficiency, enhance customer experience, and all these activities will lead to drive the revenue growth, to increase the revenue. So some companies might focus on reducing the operating costs. For example, optimizing the supply chain operations, improving logistics, improving the way we manage our inventory, streamlining processes. So these activities that can enhance the supply chain and maybe efficiently use our resources. Other strategies or other supply chain value-adding activities might aim at increasing the revenue. So when we manage the supply chain effectively, we can increase what we call the fill rate. Let me write it in the chat. Fill rate. So this is, this is the percentage or the rate of customer demand that is met or filled or fulfilled through immediate the stock that's available. So I make the order, the stock is already available, so we fulfill the order immediately. Without back orders, without losing sales, because if I can't find the product in the stock, I will go and buy it somewhere else. So companies want to increase the fill rate, and this will increase a higher satisfaction and will increase the sales and will increase the revenues. Another way is to what we call extended offers. So maybe we can expand to new markets or new locations, or providing a new product mix, or offering additional services. Have you noticed when you go to, for example, buy from McDonald's or any of these chains, and you ask for Coke, the person who is doing the transaction with you, they might say, would you like to pay 25 cents and make it large? So the upsell, the cross-sell, so they are offering extended offers. Also customization. Customization is big and huge. Some companies, for example, there is a company called Shoes of Prey. It allows you to customize the shoes you are buying. Everything in the shoes, you can customize it. And this actually requires a very, very efficient supply chain. Especially when you offer customized or personalized products or solutions, you want to have a very, very efficient supply chain. You can also introduce new products. So using the existing capabilities of your supply chain, but you are, offering new products, and of course, generating additional revenue. Another strategy or another value-adding activities could be asset utilization. So what asset utilization? What assets do we have? Of course, the facilities. So we have warehouses, factories, and other facilities. So we use our facilities to optimize the production and storage. And the production itself, so we optimize the manufacturing and production processes so we can maximize the output. Very important to minimize the waste. And we will talk about lean manufacturing and Six Sigma and just in time. All these models and tools and methodologies aims to minimizing the waste. Also transportation. So managing the transportation of goods and parts and raw material to reduce the costs. So these are all, ways that we do, or approaches that we do to create value-adding activities. And when we talk about supply chain, there are so many applications to the supply chain. I think there are some, I'm not sure, people who leave the meeting and come join, maybe they have something with their connection. So I need to readmit them again. Sorry for that. So when we talk about supply chain applications, so these are some of the principles or the strategy that could be applied in different contexts. So for example, when we apply this to the product, so we are talking about coordination among suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, retailers. So we ensure that there is efficient production, distribution, and sales, so we can reach the consumers at the end. Promotional. So we can use actually supply chain management to promote the products. So we have promotional items, promotional campaigns. And the challenge here is coordinating all these elements required for the promotion to be successful. So for example, what comes to my mind is the end aisle tasting. You know, when you go to a supermarket or a wholesale club, and you will find that there are tasting stations, so people can taste and see. So we have to arrange these promotional activities and include it within our supply chain. What else? We have so many examples. So, for example, recycling, the one that we had a question about. So, and this includes also returns. Sometimes we have returns and recycling together if the company is not working in recycling per se. So we have these returns, and of course we sort it. We see if this could be repaired or returned to the manufacturer. But how we will handle this products or components or packaging. So the supply chain of your company should support this, you know, the collection, the transportation, and the recycling or disposal of these items. Also recovery. So this involves recovering material that has reached the end of its life. So you will go to some supermarkets, for example, let's say cosmetics. So that chain bought cosmetics from, let's say, Estée Lauder. There is a shelf life for these products. So when the product reaches its end life and it's not sold, the company has to recover these products again. So again, we are utilizing our supply chain and our supply chain management to recover these items. Other examples I'm including, of course, I'm not going to talk about these. I assume that you read the material. For example, in agriculture, so how to use the supply chain or how to apply the principles and strategies of supply chain management. So we are moving these products, agriculture products, and some of them have a very, very short life span. And we move these products from the farm to what we call commodity elevator or processing plant. And the challenge here is we are moving bulk products. So we want to move these bulk products economically and also allowing farmers to make profits. So think of farms that are far away from the buyer or the end product, and these agriculture products will go through different processing operations, and maybe moving, from facility to facility. So we need to have very, very efficient supply chain. I might share these slides with you. I know quickly I went through Moodle, and I have seen that you have some slides there, but I believe that my slides are better. A very interesting example is clinical trials. For example, these pharmaceutical companies, and it's a huge industry, of course, billions of dollars. So, so they do clinical trials. So they need to control dosages, ingredients, drug combinations, storing these components in a well-controlled facilities. So they need a huge and effective supply chain. So you can see that supply chain is not only transportation. It's not only, buying something and receiving it by mail. No, these companies, they don't work in supply chain per se, but it's a huge part of the business itself. So for example, in pharmaceutical, they have very rigid regulations that they have to comply to, and many components of the supply chain have these regulatory requirements to be applied. Okay, now it's not responding. Okay. Okay, so we have, I think you can see it in your book, the 8 supply chain integrative processes. So these are key stages in the modern supply chain management approach that we talked about. Is different than the traditional one. So we need to be responsive. So we need to do demand planning responsiveness. So we need to predict the future demand. And we predicted the future using historical data. That's why IT plays huge role in supply chain. We need to analyze market trends, and we need to analyze all the factors that will help us predict the future demand. And the aim here is to make sure the company is prepared to meet customer needs and customer demands as quickly and efficiently as possible. Also, customer relationship collaboration. So creating and fostering the beneficial relationships with customers. So we have open communication, collaboration, sharing information with our customers, working together. That's why in so many supply chains, customer service is an integral part of this. Think call centers, for example, or order fulfillment and the delivery of the goods and services. So we have different processes, different steps that we are executing from receiving an order to fulfilling the order. And also after order, after we fulfill the order, there are also customer service. So we need to fulfill the order with the right quantity, to the right place, at the right time. And we do this in a cost-effective way. Also manufacturing customization, supplier relationship collaboration. It's very important, you know, our supply chain starts with the supplier. So we need to foster the relationship with our suppliers, not only with our customers. So when we have these strong relationships with our supplier, we can benefit, you know, better pricing, higher quality, better services that we get from our suppliers, reliability. Also, something that we call reverse logistics. Again, we talk about the return of products, and it's becoming huge in North America and in Europe. You cannot just sell a product to the customer, and when they are not satisfied, it's okay, it's their problem. No, it's your problem. If they are not satisfied, it's your problem. You have to get the product and compensate the customer in a way or another. So what do we mean by these concepts? These are paradigms or approaches that we have in place to manage the supply chain, especially when it comes to information sharing. So enterprise extension, information sharing paradigm. So this paradigm proposes that to achieve optimal cooperation between the components of your supply chain, all participants must share their operational information. And sharing information with the security of information is not an easy thing, you know, but we have to collaborate together and voluntarily share our information so we can increase the operational efficiency of the supply chain and the way we manage it. And also we have another paradigm, which is process specialization. So we collaborate in joint operations with all the participants in the supply chain, and we have to collaborate so we can eliminate or reduce non-productive work or non-value adding activities or redundancies. So we have, again, to share information that can help all the participants to optimize the processes. And now we focus on process specialization, because if I'm specialized in a specific process, it means that I'm doing it to the best. So we are eliminating redundancy, we are eliminating overwork, wait time, all these non-value adding activities or waste. To give you an example, Toyota is huge in this, and they focus on process specialization. So of course, Toyota is automotive manufacturer, right? So their approach is process specialization approach in the supply chain. They employ lean manufacturing system. Actually, they are the one who invented lean. And they make sure that each supplier of their suppliers specializes in a specific part or a specific process. So when these suppliers only focus on a specific area of expertise, this will reduce any duplication, any redundancy, any waste. This will improve the efficiency and, of course, will ensure high quality of these products and processes. And of course, we use integrated service providers. These are companies that offer specific services to your company. Their aim is to provide a one-stop shop for some of the processes used in the supply chain. For example, logistics, transportation, or warehousing, or order fulfillment. So we have transportation specialists. So these service providers, they can provide different modes of transportation and transportation services. And they will handle the movement of goods using, as I said, multiple modes: air, sea, rail, road, trucking. And of course, with this, there are other value-adding services. So, for example, tracking, real-time tracking. You can see the shipment moving on the screen. Or customs clearance. You don't deal with the customers. You don't deal with the freight consolidation. You don't deal with the insurance. They deal with this for you. For example, like FedEx. They are a very good example of transportation specialists. They will provide everything related to the shipping services, overnight express packages, heavy freight. They have a huge global air and ground network that they use to provide these logistics services. Some service providers are specialized in warehousing. So again, they provide warehousing and distribution services through huge centers. This includes the storage, inventory management, order fulfillment, packaging. They do packaging, shipping. For example, Amazon. Amazon is huge in warehousing. So they have these fulfillment centers distributed all over the globe. And of course, these warehouses are linked to e-commerce platforms. And with the many warehouses they have worldwide, can fulfill orders. And also they work with third-party sellers. And of course, now they are so greedy. So whenever there is something that's doing good on their platform, they have their private labels now. So they are competing with the sellers using their platform. So these service providers are part of the supply chain. And right now, we are talking more and more about the green supply chain management. Have you heard about the triple profits, the triple bottom line, sorry, the triple bottom line? Anyone heard about this? So the triple bottom line is
I think it's profit and community and planet, I think.
These are 3 P's. So profit, yes, planet, yes, and people. Okay. I need to admit manually everyone. Okay, so and of course this will extend to the supply chain. So we want to have environmentally friendly raw materials. So the raw materials that we are sourcing are sustainable and they have low impact on the environment. So for example, a furniture company might get sourced the wood from sustainably managed forests. Also substitution of environmentally questionable materials, you know. So those materials that are sourced through practices that might be harmful to the environment, so we substituted with much more safer alternatives. For example, so many textile manufacturers now switch from synthetic dyes that pollute rivers to more natural or organic dyes. Also, when we design the supply chain and the supply chain management system, we take environmental criteria into consideration. So when we reach decisions, business decisions, we make sure that they are based on some environmental criteria that we include in the decision making. For example, using renewable energy, for example, instead of the sources that harm the planet. For example, the use of cleaner technology processes. So we save energy, we save water, we eliminate waste or we decrease waste. So we might introduce some water recycling systems or use renewable energy sources, as I said before. So we try to incorporate the environmental aspect to the supply chain, and it's coming, it's becoming huge. So if you can include this into your work practices and maybe include it in your resumes, this will look nicer. So when we talk about integrated supply chain management, we talk about synchronizing. Think of an orchestra, and the maestro is trying to coordinate all the activities in the supply chain. And we have here a saying, hurry up and wait. So this saying is used to describe the inefficiencies and inconsistencies in a supply chain that's poorly coordinated. So we hurry up and then we face some obstacle, so we have to wait. And why we hate waiting? Because wait is waste. So the company is trying to rush certain activities, let's say production, delivery, or whatever, and then we have to wait because of delays or problems or bottlenecks or something that went bad in the supply chain. And this will increase the costs, of course, lower customer satisfaction, and maybe we lose some sale. So, and another saying, firms can be fast alone. So this implied that a single firm can often operate more quickly on its own because it doesn't have to coordinate with others. However, this speed often comes at the expense of efficiency and effectiveness. So the optimum here is that we need to be fast together, not to be fast alone, because we are considering the entire supply chain. That's why we have the integrated supply chain, and we focus mainly on the coordination and synchronization between the customer. Yes, the customer is included in your integrated supply chain management, the retailer, the distributor, the different service providers that you will have, the manufacturer, the raw material provider. All these players are part of your integrated supply chain. I need to move quicker. We have so much to cover. We can have an extra class on Friday so we can catch up what we missed. What do you think? Yes, Lizzie? I will call you Lizzie, okay? Okay, I will send you an email with an extra class on Friday so we can catch up and go through all the concepts that we want to cover. So when we talk about integrated supply chain management, we talk about a holistic approach that will enable us to manage the flow of goods, services, and information. So there are certain key concepts that we have to understand. The first one is time and place positioning. Okay, so strategically positioning the inventory in the right place at the right time to meet, the customer demands, the requirements. And also we try to optimize inventory levels. So having too much inventory is not good. Having too little inventory is not good. We have to have the optimum inventory level and the right distribution network design. So, and why we do this? Because we want to reduce the lead times. We want to improve the customer service, minimize stock outs or excessive inventory. We want also to lower the total cost. So there might be some elements in the supply chain with higher cost, but everything collectively, we optimize the costs. We reach the lowest possible total cost to serve our customers. So we try to optimize. Again, this word is very important. Optimize costs across the entire supply chain. So maybe I will use FedEx instead of ProLater. So ProLater is a Canadian company and the service is very bad, although they are cheaper. So I will go to a more expensive service provider because overall I'm optimizing the whole process. Also asset minimization. So we need to minimize the investment in assets. Of course, inventory is part of the assets. Those who have a financial background, facilities, equipment. But again, we are optimizing, so we want to manage inventory level, improving the asset utilization. So whenever we have a piece of asset, actual asset, let's say equipment, who is stored in the storage and I'm not using it, I'm actually losing money by having this unutilized or underutilized asset. And also supply chain connectivity. So these are the new words that I want you to understand, okay? So we need to create stronger connections and collaboration among the supply chain partners. We call them partners. So when you have a service provider, let's say FedEx, this service provider becomes your partner, your supply chain partner. So we share information, we coordinate activities, and we align strategies. And sometimes we integrate our information systems so we can have better access to information and, of course, the collaboration. Also, we try to create synergy and collaboration across the channels. So again, coordinating different channels, for example, sales. Sometimes we have online platforms, sometimes we have brick and mortar stores. Have you heard about this expression? Brick and mortar. So it means actual facility. Trying to create these synergies. Sometimes we have third party marketplace. For example, there is a company called Fair. And Fair actually is a platform or a marketplace for wholesalers to connect wholesalers with customers. So this is part of the channels partnering in a supply chain. So we need to create this integrated system. So why I love this concept? Because no matter where you are in the organization, I want you to consider yourself part of this chain. So when you look at yourself in this way, you will see that you have a strategic value in your organization. So we, of course, there is a history, you know, in supply chain, and I will leave you to read it in your book. But we started with a single company, integrated supply chain model. So this was in the early stages. Companies focused on integrating only their internal operations. Okay, what can I do? Streamlining my own processes, improving coordination between my departments. So it was focusing only on a single company. Then we moved to another model, end-to-end integration. So now we evolve into the supply chain management. So we recognize the importance of collaborating with other partners, external partners, and we think of end-to-end, you know. So we start with the suppliers, manufacturers, to distributors, to retailers, until we reach the customer. So this is how this integrated approach emerged. And when we do this, we try to only include value-adding processes. Why? Because at the end of the day, we want to have a competitive advantage. So the benefit the company will provide to our customers. So we try to increase the competencies. And you know, we are trying to leverage the components of our supply chain. And this actually might include people, the skills, the capabilities they are bringing to the supply chain. That's why there are now programs focusing on supply chain, because we recognize the need to have more talented people to manage the supply chain. We also, you know, want to manage the functions and activities. So think of procurement, think of production planning, think of managing the inventory, logistics, demand planning, forecasting, warehousing. And also we try to reduce costs, improve customer service, and very important, to increase responsiveness. Right now, customers want their order to be fulfilled now. And actually, Amazon is setting expectations to the roof. You know, if you order late at night, they will tell you, if you complete your order within 10 minutes, you will receive your order 8 a.m. in the morning. So can you imagine? I place an order 12 a.m. midnight, and I receive it 8 a.m. So that's insane. That's insane. And that's why customers are so greedy now, because we are pampered. We are pampered, and companies are competing with this. So we have unique values and benefits that every company is trying to provide. So service excellence. So we call this the EERS model. So we try to be effective, we try to be efficient, we try to be relevant to our customers through generating value, you know, to create valuable products, helpful products, to satisfy the needs and unique problems that customers face. And also, we want to do this sustainably through continuous improvement. So we have to always continuously ongoing effort to enhance the supply chain efficiencies and effectiveness. So this is the model that I was talking about. So we try to create value. That's why you will find it in the heart of the model, because at the end of the day, you have to provide your value proposition, unique value proposition, delivering superior value compared to your competitors. That's why, for example, I'm an Amazon Prime user. Why? Because I see value of this. You try to increase your effectiveness, and actually we measure these elements. In supply chain we measure so many variables to check, are we effective enough? For example, on-time delivery or excellent customer service through the survey that we do, or how many 5-star reviews that we have. Also to increase the efficiency. So we reduce unnecessary steps, streamlining our operations, minimizing any efficiencies in the system. And of course, sustainability. So we try to minimize our footprints, fostering social well-being. So many companies now, they are having strong corporate social strategies to appeal, especially to the millennials. 5 minutes and we will have our next break. So how we determine these elements, how we determine responsiveness, how we measure this. So we have, when it comes to responsiveness, it's your ability as a company to adapt and respond effectively to changes. So these changes could be in the customer demands or market conditions. And we have two types of approaches: anticipatory or push, or responsive or pull, or demand driven. Anticipatory or push approach, we forecast and we produce goods or services based on the anticipated demand. So in this approach, the company, taking production and inventory decisions in advance. We try to predict the customer demand. That's why we gather lots of data, historical data, and we use these data and these trends, whether internal or market trends and other factors, to estimate the future demand. And we base our production decisions based on these trends. The responsive or pull or demand-driven, no, we are trying to quickly respond to actual demand signals. So we are not anticipating the demand. We are not using historical data. We are using actual timely signals or data. So instead of relying on forecasts, no, we have the capability to adjust the production and the supply chain activities based on real-time data. This could be customer orders or demand data. For example, we placed the order on Amazon for cat litter. And no, actually, we were searching for cat litter, but with specific specifications, and we wanted to have a big quantity to buy it one time, and that was not available on Amazon. This is real story, my story. So what happened is that Amazon actually fulfilled the order by buying it from Costco, another competitor. And the next time, actually, we found this product on Amazon. So they were using actual real-time data coming from real-time orders. And their supply chain is very efficient and flexible, so they can be very, very responsive. So how can use responsiveness as a competitive advantage? The example that I gave you now, next time, I'm not going to Costco. Now I know Costco sells this product. However, I will go to Amazon because Amazon was very, very responsive to my demand. So in the anticipatory, okay, I think we will take a 10 minutes break and then we will continue. So any questions so far? Any questions so far? Okay, so let's take 10 minutes break. So we will come 12:10 or 10 after the hour. And we will continue because there is a case study that I want to you to work on. So I'll see you in 10 minutes. Welcome back. Okay, so we have a lot to cover. So let's go back to the anticipatory business model and see the how this model is really applied. So let's remember first, this model, we call it push model. So it's a strategy, you know, the company produce and distribute the products based on anticipated demand. Okay, so that's why, as I said, we rely on forecasts and analyzing market trends. And actually, this model is applied, is heavily or widely applied. So in this model, the essential work like production, like inventory management, is completed before the actual customer order happens. So the company will have these products available before having any demands. And of course, there are certain risks associated with this. So we call it pushing inventory. So some of the risks, for example, maybe we push products to the wrong location. So we had previously strong demand from certain location, but now actually we are not getting that demand. So we are pushing the inventory or the product to wrong location, or maybe overestimating customer demand or underestimating customer demand. So this might create excessive inventory or shortage. So in this model, we have pushed based on forecast. So we rely on forecasts, market predictions to determine the quantity of the products that we need to produce and distribute. And these forecasts are typically based on the historical data from the sales, for example, market trends, market research, and other relevant factors. And the aim here is to have sufficient inventory available already at the right locations. So when we have a demand, we can fulfill this demand. And the essential work is already completed before the demand happens. So we finish the manufacturing, the packaging, the transportation in advance. Everything is done in advance before having actual orders. This is very good because we will have products ready for immediate delivery or sale. But again, there are, increasing risks of pushing the inventory to the wrong side, as I said. So historically, we get these numbers. However, we misjudge the customer demand and we push inventory to the wrong location with the wrong quantities. And we can see here that the forecasted demand doesn't align with the actual reference of the market. Or maybe there is some change in the condition, or maybe a new competitors emerged. So now we end up with excessive inventory or stock out in certain locations. And we have certain industries that heavily rely on this model, and we call them fast-moving consumer goods industries. So these industries, for example, like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, so these beverage manufacturers, they rely on anticipatory the business model or the push model. They produce large quantities of their products in advance, different products, and they distribute these products to retail stores based on what? The anticipated demand. This enables them to maintain a continuous supply. So the goal here is to have a continuous supply available in the market. So when you go to a grocery store, for example, and you ask for a Coca-Cola, you don't wait for the grocery store manager to say, okay, let me order it. No, it's available. It's promptly there. And I want to share a funny story with you. In North America, we call a Coca-Cola Coke. Okay, so when we travel to South America, Coke is Coke. Drugs. So in a pizza store, I'm not sure which chain, and we asked for 4 Coke. And the waiter, oh my God, he went colors. Yeah, his face went red when we said this. Another industry that use this model is seasonal retailers. So these businesses that experience high seasonal demand. For example, in clothing, during the holiday seasons, so we have increasing demand to certain clothing items. So they work on anticipatory business model, having the clothing for this season available before the season starts. And in the fashion industry, they have this. They even push new models and new fashion to the customers. And most of the time, they are not 100% sure if a certain model will be liked by the customer or not. Also, automobile manufacturers. Again, they have new models every year, and because they have longer lead times, they need more time to produce the vehicles. The manufacturing cycle takes longer, so they have to work with the push model and rely on the past or the historical data. So yes, there, especially in automotive, there are certain customization options, but you will find that these customization options are controlled, and the the significant part of the product itself, the car itself, is already done. So you only customize few things to make you feel good about your purchase. Also, print media. Of course, it's diminishing right now. So you will find that publishers in the print media industry use this anticipatory business model. They estimate the demand for the newspaper, the magazine, or the books, and they anticipate the number of copies to be printed. So they want to have these print copy available and widely spread and allowed. And if they anticipate the demand wrongly, you will go to the stores or the bookstores, and you will find huge discounts. Why that? Because they anticipated a certain book will sell, and it doesn't happen. So they printed more copies than the demand based on misjudged decision. So in the responsive, as I said, there are no many businesses that had this, and we call it pull model. So it's a strategy that by employing this strategy, the company is trying to reduce or eliminate the reliance on forecasts. And instead of this, we try to respond directly to actual customer demand. We try to do joint planning with the supply chain partners, leveraging technology to share knowledge and information about the demand, and there is a model here, build to order. We wait until we get the order, and quickly we build the product and fulfill the order. So we want to be very, very responsive. So in this case, businesses trying to reduce or eliminate reliance on forecasts. So how we will replace forecasts? We replace forecasts with very effective information technology systems. We can get, the direct demand from the customer as it occurs, and we minimize the risk of overproduction. And we eliminate the risk of relying on inaccurate forecasts. And we employ the joint planning with supply chain managers or partners, sorry. So we share information, we coordinate activities, we align strategies, so we can, do things so quickly. So I have receive the parts, do the production or do the assembly in a very, very short time. And here we have certain strategies, we call it time-based competition. Who will offer it as quickly as possible to the customer? And we use technology to share knowledge and information. This is a vital role here in this model, the responsive business model. So we use advanced information systems and data analytics to share real-time knowledge about the demand, inventory levels. And when we say inventory levels, we don't mean the finished product, but the parts or the items or the raw materials, and also information about customer preferences. So this will enable more accurate and responsive decision-making process across the whole supply chain. And as I said, we use the model build to order. The example I gave you, shoes of Ray, I'm not sure if this company is still working or not, but the idea is that it's a highly customizable product, and you place the order and they quickly make the order and send it to you. And not only this company, for example, Dell. So they have a responsive business model, and they also utilize a build-to-order model for computers. So you go online, and there are certain specifications that you can customize to your order, and then Dell assembles the product, and they deliver it to you in a very short time. So in doing this, of course, you feel empowered because you are customizing the product. They reduce inventory costs. They have inventory of parts, but not inventory of end products. And of course, they improve their responsiveness to customer demands. Also, Zara. Zara is a fashion retailer. If you buy from them, they have a semi-responsive business model. Why? Because they wait until the big fashion houses reveal the new fashion for the new season, and quickly they try to imitate these fashion trends and responding to these fashion trends. So there is a very short time lag between Zara's products in the market and the other big fashion houses in the market. So they have sort of a responsive business model, but now they are not responding to customer demands. They are responding to competitors' innovation. See the difference? Also, Amazon is a unique company. Whatever the strategy we are talking about, you will find that Amazon is applying this strategy, or sort of this strategy. Again, they have huge e-commerce operations, and they utilize advanced technology, and their predictive analytics and real-time inventory management systems are huge, and they respond promptly to customer orders. And they leverage their extensive distribution network. As I said, they have fulfillment centers all over the world, so they can offer fast and reliable shipping, and of course, increasing our expectations over and over. Also, Tesla. I'm not sure if you have Tesla in your countries, but in North America, Tesla is becoming, the #1 electric vehicle. They have this responsive business model. So they use real-time data from the customers when they have orders, and they create the orders as quickly as possible. So again, there are risks associated with each model. So of course, there are barriers. Why? Because if this responsive system is very good, why cannot all businesses apply it? Because there are certain barriers. So implementing this responsive business model, somehow is difficult for the public companies. Public companies usually need to deliver quarterly profits, and they need to have well-established relationships with their partners. you know, they have shareholders to satisfy. They need to respond to market expectations, so they need to predict market demands. They cannot work on real-time systems all the time. So, and the short-term focus on profitability, because their market share and their stock price is heavily connected to their ability to correctly predict customer demands. So they cannot do this responsive. They use volume-based production, of course, and they use traditional forecasting approach. So it's not easy to do this. Also, they need to have their time in establishing the collaborative relationships. Of course, this responsive systems, they need huge flexibility in their in their supply chain partners. But again, for public companies and certain companies, they need to educate their stakeholders. They need, you know, tell them about this responsive system. So not relying on historical data might not be appealing to certain stakeholders. They need time to build their network. They need time to implement a new technology or leveraging technology. And also have some sort of incentive structure in place, so they can encourage their partners to be that responsive and that collaborative with them. And of course, there are certain risks associated with any operation, and especially supply chain. So what are some of the risks that might be inherent in the supply chain? For example, compliance risk. So we need to adhere to certain laws and regulations and standards within the supply chain. So the company needs to make sure that the suppliers and other partners follow ethical practices. There are certain requirements. And also there are certain industry-specific requirements. Remember when I was talking about pharmaceutical companies and, for example, food companies? So there are certain industry-specific requirements and guidelines and standards that we have to comply to. So some of the examples, we might have a supplier code of conduct. So if a supplier violates the agreed upon code of conduct, for example, engaging in unethical or illegal practices, this might impact my company. Think of coffee companies. When the coffee beans are sourced through slave farms or something like this, although I'm buying this from my supplier, I'm not doing it myself, it will impact my reputation in the market. So if my suppliers are engaging in unethical or illegal practices, it will impact the whole supply chain. Also, those suppliers that they don't comply to laws and regulations. So they get audited by the government. So again, it will impact the whole supply chain. Also, the use of certain materials. Think of hazardous materials, for example, and there are, you know, some disasters we heard about, things happening in factories, for example, in poor countries, when the manufacturer did not comply to environmental regulations and laws and standards, and this might lead to legal risks. And again, this will impact the whole supply chain. Also, certification. There are certain processes or materials should be certified. So if the supplier couldn't be certified, this will impact my ability to use them as my supply chain partner, and I need to search for another one. So these are some of the risks related to compliance. Some of the risks related to the performance. So this is related to the ability of the supply chain partners to meet the expectations of this supply chain. There are certain performance expectations, to have this efficiency, and to have the quality goods that's stored in a certain way, delivered on time, delivered to the specific location. Excellence, there are certain standards that every industry applies. So if any of the partners in the supply chain doesn't achieve excellence according to the standards of this industry, this will impact the whole supply chain. Delivery is huge. Reliability is huge. So if any of the chain partners is unreliable, it will impact the whole chain. Quality also is one. Also, a very important one is the capacity of the partner. So there is a total capacity of the whole chain and individual capacity of each partner. For example, let's say we employed a local company for transportation, Prolator, here in Canada. So the capacity of Prolator as a company is less than a company like FedEx. FedEx have more employees, more distribution or fulfillment centers or something like this, and network. So the capacity of the supplier or the partner might impact again the whole chain. Environment is becoming more and more, or sustainability, and this is not only for like natural disasters, but also to what we do to manage people. Think of the example that I gave you, the not so good working conditions in certain factories, for example, in India or Bangladesh or even China, the slave factories I told you about. So there are certain risks associated with the different partners related to the environmental events, labor, whether labor shortage or unethical human resources management practices, maybe geopolitical risks. Maybe there are certain parts that have political instability or trade disputes or unanticipated changes in regulations. So this, everything will disrupt the global supply chain. Also, trade barriers. Think of duties, tariffs. A few years ago, we had some issues between Canada and America. And America is one of our biggest trade partners. So when there was some negotiations, actually we felt some shortage of items in the Canadian market. Pandemics, of course, and not only pandemics. Sometimes there are disease outbreaks in certain areas. So it's not necessarily to be global, but even if it is localized and this local location is part of the supply chain, it will create some risk to the supply chain. Also financial risks. So all these partners in your supply chain have some financial capabilities. So when there is some instabilities or payment terms or change in ownership or a company that went bankrupt. So there are some financial risks associated with this. And of course, there are risks associated to the market segment. So maybe some related industries, they have certain things happening within this industry that might affect your industry. Think of shortage in raw materials or market demand fluctuation or regulations related to packaging or availability of natural resources. You know, certain risks that happen in the market that might affect the supply chain that your company is part of. And also there is the concept of stock keeping units. This is very important. How much stock that we need to keep. And there are two types of impacts here. This might influence the revenue and also will influence the cost. So when it comes to revenue, for example, product differentiation. So the variety of products or product options that we have, that we offer our customers. So if the demand on one of these options go low and I have high stock from this product, this will impact the revenue. Market segmentation. So I target specific segment, you know. You don't sell your product to everyone in the market. You do market segmentation and you offer your products tailored to a specific customer segment based on their preference. And the more you understand this segment, the more you will produce products tailored to this segment, so you get more revenue. And how this will impact the stock you are keeping? I will keep stock from the right product that appeals to the customer segment. Also pricing. Pricing is very important, you know. So for example, I have high-end products. So I might have a premium pricing. Or no, I have not high-end, so I need to have a competitive pricing. And this will impact the sales volume and the revenue associated with the volume that I'm selling. And also this will impact the cost. So any inventory I'm holding, it has costs associated with it. Think of the storage space that we are renting or owning, the handling expenses, tracking of the inventory, managing the inventory, the people we hire to handle the inventory and maintain the inventory. So these are costs related to this. Also very, very important is the waste and obsolescence. So I might carry a large number of stock of products that are obsolete. So now it's not only the cost of the obsolete products, but also the cost I'm paying to have these obsolete products in my inventory. So that's why you need to be very careful in determining the stock you are keeping in your inventory. Also, we have globalization, and this is one of the factors that differentiating modern supply chain management than traditional supply chain management. So globalization play or impacted significantly the way we manage supply chains. And this comes with opportunities and challenges. And of course, this might not be valid for all the companies, but especially those companies that are operate on a global scale, global marketplace. And even if you are local, you will find that among your competitors are some of the companies that are global companies. And actually, it's adding more pressure on local businesses to compete such companies. So some of the opportunity that you have a better market access, you have extended market. So you have new markets so that you can go. You have a new customer segment so that you can target. So you can reach a larger or a wider customer base. So this is an opportunity for more sales and more revenue. And you can see that the taste of customers in different markets might be different in certain industries and might be very, very close in some industries. For example, Coca-Cola and Pepsi, when we talk about if you buy Coca-Cola or Pepsi in one country and you go to another country, you will get the same product. Also, globalization enables companies to resource raw materials, components for their products, and access to labor and workers from different regions. So think of China, for example. Everyone is manufacturing their products or part of their products in China. So this can lead to cost effectiveness. Also, specialized suppliers. So if you think of IKEA, for example, a sofa in their product lines might have 50 different suppliers from different countries. And each supplier is specialized in a specific tiny part in the sofa. So accessing specialized suppliers will give you access to the unique capabilities of these suppliers, no matter where they are. But also, there are some challenges that comes with globalization. And we study supply chain management to understand this. So, for example, culture differences, language differences, different practices, customs, even the market. So, for example, McDonald's, they have different products or menus depending on the region. Also, regulatory and legal compliance, because we are dealing with different regulations depending on the country or the area, different legal frameworks, different legal systems, different, for example, custom regulations or product standards. So if you will sell to Europe, the European Union has more strict regulations in certain industries so that you have to comply with. And of course, the logistics and transportation. So this globalization made the issues of logistics and transportation on a wider scale. So we have border regulations. Think of these trucks moving from country to country, and the risks associated with this. Maybe there are smugglers, you know, drug dealers or something like this. The long distance travels that your product or your service, actually product, will travel. How can you maintain the quality of these products in long distance? Of course, the infrastructures. For example, some countries, they don't have the infrastructure that will enable these parts of your chain to go smoothly. Also, globalization brings challenges over the control of the supply chain. So we need real-time visibility to the inventory moving or the product moving throughout the chain, the transportation, supplier performance. So sometimes the globalization brings a hassle in controlling different parts of your chain. Of course, however, it brings, you know, very attractive opportunities. So the demand exceeds the local supply. So if you are working on a product or providing a product, when the local supply is less than the demand, you have an opportunity here in this market. So this is something very good. Also, you can do strategic sourcing, you know, so you can source the raw material or components or even services from all over the world. So you have advantage of strategic sourcing. I'm not sourcing for the coming quarter, I'm sourcing for the coming 5 years. And of course, outsourcing and offshoring. So whether you are outsourcing the manufacturing, the customer service, the call center, these are all lucrative and attractive opportunities that you have in your supply chain. So I think I covered these things when I was talking. Oh, no. So let's talk about this slide, and we will see the next steps. So, of course, there are some disruptors to the supply chain is becoming an industry itself, you know, and there are people who are specialized and companies who are specialized in this. So what are the disruptors or the rapid changes that's happening to this industry or impacting this field from the traditional way? We have technology adaptation. Technology is hugely advancing in this area, and so many companies are embracing and leveraging emerging technologies. For example, the autonomous vehicles, the Internet of Things. So these are some of the disruptors, and they are transforming the transportation, logistics, and the supply chain management. And it enabled us to have real-time tracking. Actually, I can track using my cell phone where is my shipment is, and I'm just a user. And also predictive maintenance. So I don't wait until something happens, so I maintain the vehicle. No, we do predictive maintenance. Also artificial intelligence. It's not something new, ChatGPT. And these cool apps to draw you as a superhero or something like this. We are using artificial intelligence in so many technology. Think of data analysis, automation. There are huge parts of the supply chain management tools that are automated. Also, the Uber, Uber, the company. So it became a trend now, Uberization. So sharing resources with different businesses. So at a business level, think of platforms, for example, platforms that connect consumers with providers, or platforms for on-demand services. So these are, again, disrupting our industry. 3D printing, or they call it additive manufacturing. So these are new ways of producing parts and components, or customizing products on demand. So we become more responsive to our customers. Also the big data and big data mining. So those of you who are from the IT background, these are all some technology that you can go to and maybe enhance your knowledge in. So you can collect, analyze large volumes of data, and you use these data to get some insights. So you can create some competitive advantage for you. One of the companies that are using big data, Amazon, of course. Of course, some of the more environmentally friendly things like alternative fuels, for example. Also, there are some disruptions related to the consumers themselves. So you will find that consumers are becoming more greedy. They want it now. They expect fast and convenient services, sometimes same-day delivery. We want instant gratification. I buy something and I suddenly, find it like the genie in the bottle. Also, personalization and customization. I want to have more personalized service, or the ability to customize my products more and more. For example, there is one company that produces shampoo and conditioner for the hair, and you go through a questionnaire, and they ask you questions about the problems that you are facing with your hair, and then they customize the shampoo and they send it to you. Let's say I buy a quantity for 1 month. Even the bottle itself, the color of the bottle, the drawings on the bottle, and I have my name engraved on the bottle. So see how personalization and customization. And of course, the millennials. Right now, we have millennials. They have certain preference. They are more keen to have sustainable products, companies that have social responsibility, also digital engagement. All of these references to millennials. Omni-channel shopping. So this is one of the emerging trends. So I want to go between online and offline. So for example, I'm buying from H&M something. I can't find my size. So the system will tell me that these stores have your size. So I can go in person and have this garment in my size. Although I started the process online, or maybe I will go online and they will, and this actually happened. I can't find the product that I want, so they will place the order online and I will get it at home. So it started offline and ended online. So see, and we talked about millennials. There is another trend, not in all countries, but in certain areas in the world, the aging population. So Of course, countries like Egypt, for example, or Africa, they don't have this problem. But in North America and in certain countries in Europe, they have aging population. So there are certain needs for these aging adults, like healthcare products, wellness, age-friendly technologies. So right now, companies are trying to cater to a wider range of customers through their accessibility. Yes? Oh my God, we are running out of time. Only 2 minutes. Okay, I went through. Okay, if you need to leave, it's okay. I'm just finalizing So any question before we close our session? Any question? So what I will do, I will send you these slides, and I will go through Moodle again. I didn't go through Moodle to see what you covered, what you didn't cover, and what exercises that you finished. And if you have a question, my preferred communication channel is through email. I still need to reactivate my email on Windsor. It's been a few months since I last used it. So I will try to activate it, and I will see you Friday. Okay, so next week we will have Friday and Monday, so we can push through the topics that we have to cover. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, and I will see you next week, Friday. Okay, so
Okay,
bye-bye.
thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you,
Have a good
Professor.
day. Bye.
Bye-bye.